Living Elohim, the living Elohim. Hey, the more you walk in this, you guys, the more it's going to become evident and it's going to become very clear, okay, that Yah does hear and he does see and he does let you know what's going on, okay? So I praise him for that. Let me see, I got a couple of people coming in. Yes, let them in. There you go. Awesome. All right, so let's get right to it. Last week we had stopped, I believe, in verse number 8, and we're going to try to go back there and look at it. There's the pull it up right quick. Sorry, I didn't have it up. All right, wonderful. We were in chapter number 14. We made our way through there. And so tonight, what we want to do is just kind of, finish off where we left off at. We want to kind of go through that. So it's in verse number 8. There was a question about whether or not Yah would be pleased with them for them to go into this land. And Joshua and Caleb, they wanted to go into the land. Remember, I told you they tore their clothes. They tore their clothes and they were just very determined. They really wanted to go in. And this was the opportunity of a lifetime. It's the opportunity of a lifetime for them. I mean, they've already been traveling in the wilderness for over a year. They've already been out there for a whole year, walking around with, out in the desert, and Yah's been taking care of them ever since. And so this was like, a buildup. They wanted to go in, and this was their opportunity. And Joshua and Caleb were really pressing upon these individuals, all the people, that, if Yah's pleased with them, he would give them this land. And that's Yahweh's intention. Yahweh's intention is to give the children of Israel that which he promised to their fathers. As I've been saying it over and over and over again, this is the only thing that Yahweh is interested in doing for his children, is to bring us back to the land that our ancestors was promised. Now, just think about that for a second, okay? All the other stuff that goes along with it, like, the gold, the silver, the animals and the vegetation, those are all great things, but it's the promise. It's something that Yah says, I'm going to give you something that's going to sustain you and your descendants forever. This promise is forever, you guys. And so let's continue to read. So verse number 9 says, they were saying, hey, just don't rebel. Just, don't rebel and don't be afraid of the people living in the land. We'll eat them up. Their defenses have been taken away from them, and Yahweh is with us, and don't be afraid of them. That's interesting. That's really interesting that they said that their defenses have been taken away from them. And so there's these two guys saying this, but the other group has said, hey, we can't take these people. But 2 of them said we can. 10 said we couldn't, that we're afraid of them. But they're trying to convince thousands and thousands upon thousands. Could you imagine how difficult that was for them to try to convince a group of people? There were a whole bunch of crybabies crying all the time, that they can have something that's not in their vision and that's in their sight. Remember, they've been having a hard time believing anything that Yahweh has said. So these 2 individuals are the ones that are speaking to them. But just as the whole community were saying they should be stoned to death, the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tent of meeting to all the people of Israel. I want us to understand that often when we were in our Christian way of life and when we were religious, we were told that no one's ever seen the glory of Yahweh, and that's not true. These individuals actually saw Yahweh's glory. Okay, so that's not something that they didn't ever have an experience with. These millions of people that were living in these tents, they saw the glory of Yahweh. They saw the fire on the mountain. They saw the cloud. They saw the burning pillar of fire that came down. They saw these things. They saw the fire light the altar. That's why they fell down in worship. They saw that when he burned up Abihu and Nadav, they saw that. They saw a lot. They saw the sea open up. They saw it all. They did see the glory of Yahweh. And because they saw this glory, this makes them accountable. This is what's making them accountable. And we'll see that shortly here. By the way, feel free to ask any questions if it pops in your head, like, well, why did this or why that? We'll try to figure it out together. I don't have all the answers. Okay, that's why we go through the Torah portion together. But here, the glory of Yahweh appeared, and then it says this. Yahweh said to Moshe, check out what he said. How much longer is this people going to treat me with contempt, disdain, hatred, loathe me, disrespect me, have no regard for me? And the word that they're using there about how long or how much longer, it's a Hebrew word that talks about them lodging, like they spend a night on this. They think about this all the time. Their way of life, the whole time they've been out in the wilderness, they just been, marinating on this. This has been their whole thing. Every single day. This is what their whole mindset has been since they've been out there. They've been lodging, sleeping on it, waking up with it, going to bed with it. And so, as the scripture tells us, that Yah brought them out for various reasons. Number one, to be their Elohim, but secondly, to kind of find out what their character is and who they are as people. And so, these people hate him. And he asked the question, how long am I supposed to, put up with this? They don't trust me. They don't have they do not consider all the signs that I performed among them. They don't look at the food that I gave them for the last year. They don't look at the water. They don't look at they're probably still angry about the quails that I fed them for over a month the second time. They're probably upset about me burning up the outskirts of the camp. They're upset about me killing, some people that I had to kill, Aaron's sons. They're mad. And they're going to continually be mad and continue to be disrespectful to Yah. What's interesting, we haven't got there yet, but you guys know at the end of this chapter, there was somebody who went to go pick up sticks on the Shabbat. After they were told about these things, and they asked, well, what should we do with this person? And Yah says, take him out and stone him to death and kill him. That's at the end of chapter number 15, okay? These people really like to press. And so when I say this, these people, the sad news is that I'm talking about our ancestors. This is the mindset of the people that you and I come from, okay? And I often tell you that, considering all things, that stuff that was in them, it's in us. And we have to be very, very careful. Verse number 12, he says, I'm going to strike them with sickness, destroy them, and make from you a nation greater and stronger than they are. How many times have Yahweh said this? Does anyone know? Or could you imagine? How many times do you remember Yah saying, I'm going to wipe them out and start over with you?
You said it a couple of times while they were in the wilderness.
Yes. Just say a couple. Let's just say be safe. Yah has not said this once. He hasn't said it twice. He said it several times. Okay? That's important to remember. And the reason for that is because this has always been in the back of his thought process, is like what I'm going to have to do to them. And the scary part about that is this: when he brings us out to the wilderness in the book of Ezekiel, this is prophetic, the Yah will then finally destroy everybody that has always gone against him. That's our family. And that's the people who have had who are in a covenant with him. He's going to finally get this day. Okay. Remember when they made the golden calf, Yahweh said to them, he says, yeah, I forgive. I'll forgive them. Yeah. But those who have sinned against me are the ones I'm going to blot out of my book. So again, we're going to understand that Yah is bringing consequences upon people even after he forgives them, which is interesting. Okay. because we have a different mindset about and thoughts that we think what forgiveness is. We think forgiveness is everything is good, you forgave us, and all that's off the table. And the bad part about that is that there's a reservoir of judgment and anger that Yahweh has that has not been fully met. There's a measure of anger that Yahweh has. Seems that within this Torah portion, Yah is testing us. Yeah. But what we think could test him as well. Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely, Edit. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. It is. You're spot on. This is the test. And I'm not talking about the emergency broadcast system. I'm telling you that the Creator has brought these people out here to find out if they're worthy enough to even be brought into the land. I'm kind of giving it away for Shabbat, but it's the truth. This is a test. Yah has done this on purpose. Yah is.
It's kind of like when we were kids. My mom would say, "Boy, don't you test me."
Hey, and if you did test her, what happened?
You don't want to know. No, we'll lie.
I do want to know because she's from. My mama passed away 3 years ago. I'll tell you what my mama said, "Don't you test me." And she'd be on the phone, and then she'd be talking to my Aunt Charlotte. She'd be like, hey, girl, I'm thinking everything, we're doing everything, and we think it's all good. Mama's just talking on the phone like nothing even happened. And then as soon as she said, hey, girl, I gotta go take care of something. And hang up the phone, and it was on. That's what it is. So it's just a matter of time, okay? So let's put this in perspective. They've been out there for over a year. Yah has divided them, and as we've been going through in our Torah portions and traveling, and he's been taking, and it takes long for us to get this, but this is a slow moving book here, okay? It's very slow. The travelings and the journeys are very slow. It's slow on purpose because Yah's trying to slow our roll down, okay, and show us what he's doing for the benefit of us in the future. This is for us. He didn't write this for them. He didn't write this for them. He wrote it for us. This wasn't written for Joshua and them. This was written for us. God's telling us what happened and what's going to happen. I'm going to just strike them with sickness and destroy them and make from you a nation greater and stronger than they are. And there were millions of people out there, and Yah said, I can start over with you. Was he willing to kill Joshua and Caleb as well? He said Moshe was the most faithful servant he had. So there was still something that Yah knew about that we don't know. Okay. I'm willing to wipe everybody out and start over with just you. I'm thinking the Torah portion is about them. Yah emphasizes again that Moshe he'll start over with him. So what is Yah trying to do, you guys? Is he trying to direct us to try to be like Moshe? He's trying to direct our attention and listen to Moshe, because he's the most faithful servant in all Yahweh's house. We learned last week that he told us that Moshe was the most humble man just 2 chapters ago. He was the most humble. And we need to be humble so we can listen to what Yahweh says. That's why Yah has chose this man, because of his touch, how gentle he was, and how humble he was. So that's the reason why Yah would start over with just him. He'll start over. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need Israel. He doesn't need Israel. He desires Israel. And that's the cold part. We think that he needs us, and he doesn't. Now check this out. Listen what he said. However, Moshe replied to Yahweh, when the Egyptians hear about this, and they will, because it was from among them that you, by your strength, brought the people up. They will tell the people living in this land, meaning Mizraim in Egypt, that's what Mizraim is, a place of oppression and being pressed. That's what that word means. Okay. Is going to put pressure. These people are going to start talking. Okay. And we're going to find evidence of this in the book of Joshua. They do know, people have been known about Yahweh's reputation. Okay. And so he said, if you destroy them, then everyone's going to find out that you did this. Okay. So now he's making it about Yah like he always does. This is the same thing he says to y'all all the time. If they're going to hear about what you did and listen what they're going to say. They have heard that you, Yahweh, are with this people. You're with them, that you, Yahweh, are seen, and it's not face to face, it's eye to eye. Okay, it's not face to face, it's eye to eye, ayin to ayin. How are they eye to eye? Remember, we just read that it says that Yahweh's glory appeared to them. So Israel saw Yahweh's glory with their eyeballs. Okay, it's not spiritual, it's for real. It's their eyes. Okay, like they saw that cloud, they saw this. And so he's saying these people, Yahweh is with them. That's significant. For Yahweh to be the creator of the heavens and the earth, who created all things, the seas, the fish, the birds, everything, every wild animal, snake, reptile, everything, the stars, the moon, the sun, the planets, the whole galaxies. He's with these people. And he's been with them. And he's been taking care of them. And this is why I tell people all the time, when you try to talk about Yahweh being with you, this is your reference point right here. Ain't nobody saying this about us today. Ain't nobody saying Yah's with these people. That's why I'm trying to convince our people to stop playing religious games and say that Yah is not with us. So stop saying he's with you. He's not. As a nation, Yah is not with his people. Every time he turns around, he says to the prophets, after I come and get them, I will be their Elohim and they will be my people because I will be with them. We make a mockery of Yah every time we say he's with me. How's he with you, but he ain't with the rest of the nation? Oh, because we're exclusive. We don't really understand that we're in exile. You're denying the curses that have been brought upon the people of Israel. We're all together in exile. We're all being paid our punishment for that which we have done, for disrespect and loathing Yahweh and hating what he said. Period. Okay. So here it is. He said, look, there's a cloud that stands over them. They recognize this. And you go ahead of them in a column of a cloud by day and a column of fire by night. He did that for nobody else. So next time someone say that Yah's with them, say, where's the column? Where's the fire? And where's the cloud? And show me the glory. Show me the fire. See? But no worries. We're going to see Yah's going to be with us one day. Yes, he will. Then he says, if you kill off this people, okay, if you kill off this people at a single stroke, because he can, then the nations that have heard of your reputation will say, that word reputation right there doesn't really do it any justice. This word reputation right here in the Hebrew is called your Shemka, your name. Yahweh's name is Yahweh's reputation. Your name should be your reputation. If you claim and you say that you're Yisrael, hear me, that means that you and I have prevailed over men and with Elohim. You see? That means that Elohim has turned our head. He's turned our head. Well, you say, how prove that? I told you before, a little goofy pen don't want to work. I told you before that Yisrael's name means Yih, he, Sar, ruler, to turn the head. El, Yah turns his head. Once Yah starts turning our head, yes, Sai, El. Okay, this right here means he. The Sar right here, S-A-R, this means to turn. And the resh means the head. Then you got the L on the end, power. Okay. So what it is that El, which is Elohim, turns he, the head, us. When Yah turns our head and he's guiding us, then you and I are Yisrael. Okay. That's why Yah always says Yisrael, and he also mentions Jacob at the same time. He's talking to Jacob because Jacob is the human element. Okay. The one that got born as a twin. Okay. Yisrael is the divine one. The one that Yah has birthed and said, hey, this is who you are. You're my representative on the face of the earth. You are my servant. You are my son. When he sent Moshe into Mitzrayim, what did he tell Pharaoh to tell him? He said, not let my son go. Guess what he said? He said, Shalach. And that's the name of our Torah portion. Send my son. Send him away. Don't let him do anything. You send my son away. And if you don't send my son, I'm going to kill your son. I'm laughing because obviously our people want a God that doesn't kill anybody except for the innocent. That's the God that they want. The Elohim that you and I serve has killed nations. He slaughtered peoples. You understand? Because for Israel. I already showed it to you. Isaiah 43 all day long. Yah says the nations mean absolutely nothing to him. Isaiah chapter 40. You can read it for yourself. Yah says, I'll give lives for you. Are you serious? Yeah, I sure will. Matter of fact, every life that I give for you, it has to be accountable. So I even want the firstborn of the animals for you. If you mess up, I won't take your life. If you messed up unintentionally, I won't take your life from you. I'll take the life, the nefesh, the kai of an animal in place of you, because it's still the same nefesh. He didn't give it an animal nefesh and then a human nefesh. They're both the breath of life. Yah could determine that. He just gave it a different covering and he gave it a different intellect. Okay. And then he didn't give them his spirit. You understand? So you and I share in the breath of life that animals share in. What makes us special is that, number one, our name, okay? That's what makes us special, is that we have a name that's great, that has been given to us by the Creator himself. And just like he named our father from Avram to Avraham and our mother from Sarai to Sarah, you understand? Yah puts that oomph on us. And he makes us very, 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 very powerful by giving us a name change. So if we claim that we're Yisrael, you understand, you and I are going to have to prevail with Yah, and we're going to have to prevail over humanity. Not just putting our hands in their throat and their neck, but prevail over the thinking of the nations. We're going to have to be stronger. Yeah, we're strong and we're fast and we have all these great talents and we can sing and we can dance and we can do all this kind of stuff. We can praise Yah with the right words when we want to. But have you and I really truly prevailed? It's actually a process. And as you can see, the children of Israel are showing their true colors. Woo! What did he say to us? He says, verse 16, that the reason Yahweh slaughtered this people in the desert is that he wasn't able to bring them into the land that he swore to give to them. That word able is so powerful. This word right here, in English, is just able. In Hebrew, it's called yakal or yakold, okay? And what it means is able to prevail and to overcome. That's what it means. You see? So you and I have a name of prevailing. And you and I have a name that overcoming is attached to. And so if he destroys us, then he destroys the ability of himself. This is one of the reasons why he has never destroyed us completely. We need to be thankful that he put that name upon us of Yisrael. The trouble is that we don't believe that Yahweh is Yakol. We don't believe that he's able. That's the problem. And the reason why we don't think he's able and we don't want to believe this, despite how much he's done for us, no matter how much manna he fed us, no matter how many times we were protected, doesn't matter. Didn't even matter if him opening the Red Sea, that doesn't matter. Him killing the firstborn doesn't matter. There's something wrong with us. And we'll share more about that on Shabbat. Okay. So it says that, hey, he wasn't able to bring him to the land. Now, as you notice here, it's a land that he swore to give to them. This is the object. This is the object of everything. It's the promise. It's what he swore. This is what the whole journey is about. This is about delivering them out of Mizraim. This is what it's always been about. It's about the land, you guys, that he swore to give to them through their fathers. So it's about his reputation and keeping his name. So now, please, now he asked him, please, Yahweh, let the Adonai's, the master's power be as great as when you said. Okay, so now he's ascribing Yahweh's, the master's power to what Yahweh said, which is very important for us to understand. When Yahweh speaks, everyone, and he tells us different things about himself, you and I need to listen very carefully. We don't need to run over these words real fast. Okay, these are the words that Yah does not want us to run over. Yahweh is slow to anger. These people tested him how many times? How many times? 10 times. 10. You like your number, your fingers and your toes. 10 times these people have tempted the creator of the heavens and the earth. Yah is slow to anger. Yah simmers like a crock pot. Okay. And then finally, when he gets to the point where he can't take it no more, boom, he breaks out. And this is what he's been trying not to do. So if it said he's slow to anger, so Moshe is telling him, reflect upon what you said. Let that be great. Because this is great news for us, that Yah is rich in grace. Oh, you better believe it. You better believe when it says he's rich in grace, because David and the Levites and all of them sing about it all through the Psalms. His grace endures forever. His grace endures forever. His grace endures forever. That's all they say. Why? Because his grace endures forever. Yah's rich in it. Okay, we found out what real grace is. There's a beauty that's in it. The Yahs are talking about the camp, the community, trying to keep everybody working together. Yah's not trying to be against us. He's not trying to force us into anything. He's trying to work with us. You understand? This is a relationship. He's not trying to work against us because he's asking for us to do certain things. Yah is a God. He's looking for oneness with his people. He didn't have to choose us. He could have chose somebody else. But he didn't. He chose you and I. And he chose our ancestors. And all we've been doing this whole time is fighting against Yahweh. Even to this day. Even to this day. I confess. I confess. I confess. I confess. Myself, in my own little way, is still fighting against Yahweh. Still fighting against him. And I'll tell you why. Am I purposely going against him? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's so many things that have to be changed in our lives, and it requires a high level of commitment in order to make this relationship right. Because that's what Yah's interested in. He's interested in relationship. This is the reason why he's slow to anger, because he's in a relationship. He's rich in grace. What? In the relationship. He has to be forgiving offenses in what? In the relationship. So what you and I need to understand is that in order for us to work in conjunction with him as his people, to be united, to be a God with him, you and I have to adopt these ways. And this is what we learn from the Torah. We'll learn this from the Torah. Is Yah asking, does Yah forgive? I got a question. Does Yah forgive offenses that are done on purpose? It's not a trick question.
No.
No, 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 no. The person who does anything with intent against him, Yah says, there's no sacrifice for it or nothing. What we see here is this contradicted, because we see here later on that Yah says he does forgive in this chapter. And these are people that have been tempting him. So what is it that he sees? Well, apparently, according to the book of Psalms, Yah is long suffering. And he knows that we're nothing but dust. That's what he does now. He does forgive. And that's what we need to understand. One of the reasons why people go to Christianity is because there's a get out of jail free card. You know, and then you could get everything forgiven, even intentional. You can get intentional sin forgiven over there. You can commit adultery and think nothing's going to happen. You and your wife broke up and you got somebody else and it's all good. You can cheat people out of their wages and think, well, it just happened. It was a mistake and you never pay them back. Not over here. Okay. He even forgives crimes. He does. But he also says, I'm not going to exonerate the guilty. This word exonerate, again, is the word quana. I put it here, quana. Quana basically means to be innocent or to be empty, okay? He's saying, I'm not going to clear someone of something that's guilty. If you're guilty, you're guilty. Even if you made a mistake, as we read in Leviticus chapter number 4, 5, and 6. And also, too, even within this chapter 15 of this Torah portion, he says that anybody that does anything on accident and by mistake, there is an offering made for that individual. You can bring some compensation for that, okay? But someone who does anything intentionally is going to be wiped off the face of the earth and will be cut off from their people, okay? And I want to continue to read about his attributes, because what Moshe is discussing, everyone, here, from here when he says Yahweh was slow to anger and all this right here is found in Exodus chapter number 34, verse number 6, when Yahweh reveals his attributes and who he is. Because Moshe asked, hey, if I found mercy and grace in your sight, in your eyes, then come and reveal yourself to me. So Yahweh tucked him in a rock and he said, I can't let you see me because you won't live. No human being can see me, but I'll put you in this rock. I'll pass by you and I'll declare to you who I am. Okay. The significance of this declaration of who Yahweh is, and the reason why Moshe's saying it to him again is because everything that's part of these attributes has to do what Yahweh's intentions are for Israel in the future. Meaning, the reason why you and I are not destroyed, even in our exile, is because Yah is slow to anger. So that's number one. Number two, the reason why you and I are going to be rescued is because Yah is going to show us grace, because his grace endures forever. That's how Yah, and you look in the book of Psalms, it talks about being rescued because of Yah's grace. Okay. He forgives offenses. Okay. Yah says, I'm not coming back because you've done any good. I'm coming back, and you should be ashamed of the things that you've done. I put you in exile so you can think about what you've done. But I do forgive offenses and crimes. I do. The reason why you're not destroyed is because I didn't exonerate the guilty. I've actually made it just by sending you into exile. That's how you're able to atone for your sins. You can find this in chapter number 27 of the book of Isaiah. Okay. What else is found in his name? He says, but also I'm not going to let you get away with anything, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cause the negative effects of the parents' offenses to be experienced by the children, by their children. And we learned in our Torah portion this week that after Yah punishes these people, he tells them, you guys are not going in, but also too, your children are going to bear the consequences of your actions, of your prostitutions. Whatever you've done, I'm going to put it on your kids, even into the third and fourth generation. So when Moshe mentions this to the children of Israel, okay, after this was his plea, remember, he's on his face at this time. When they came and said, we can't do it, Moshe and Aharon fell on their face. Yah's talking to Moshe, and Moshe's talking to Yah. Right there, while all these people around him, when they're ready to stone them. So while everyone's ready to stone him, he's on the ground praying. And he's talking to Yah, and Yah's telling him what he's going to do. Now, check this out. Look at this. He says, please, please, Yahweh, please forgive the offense of this people, connecting to what Yah said up here of Yah's attributes. He's asking him to do this according to the greatness of your grace, which is part of this right here. And just as you have borne this people from Egypt until now, he said, you've been so kind to them, and you've been gracious. You've been forgiving them ever since they left. Don't let the greatness of what you said be diminished because of what they do. And what we can learn from that, everyone, is this. You and I can actually duplicate this, okay? And what I'm saying is this. If our Creator has a word that's so strong and so binding, and he's so rich in grace and forgiving crimes and offenses, and but he doesn't exonerate the guilty, he's letting us know that if you and I are going to be with him, you and I can adopt and adapt the same attitude and the same mindset. Okay. Instead of us totally I'm ready to destroy somebody, we need to take the position of being long suffering, like Moshe, and humble and gentle, but also like our Creator. You know, when someone does something to us and they mistreat us, or they hate us or loathe us, it's not the first time it's been done. If it's been done to our Creator and it's done to us, if he's been as patient and kind and long suffering as he's been, why can't you and I bear with, the few people that we do deal with? He's dealing with a whole nation of people that hate his guts. They hate him. Okay. So that's something that we can learn from, is that our words, we should not lose the power of what we say. If we said something, we don't need to go instantaneously to destroy. We need to go ahead and adopt this mindset that Yah has put. Yes, we won't allow the guilty to be exonerated. He's not saying, I'm not letting them go, so you don't let them go. But I am rich in grace, so should you be. I am forgiving, so you should be too. So Moshe is saying, forgive the offense of this people. We should do that too. He's interceding on their behalf, because it was the greatness of grace, just as you have borne with the people even until now. And look what our Creator said. Yahweh answered, I have forgiven as you have asked. That's the relationship. And this is the reason why he says, I'm willing to start over with just you, Moshe. Because Moshe had a different type of mindset. He wanted to know who Yah was. He prayed to Yah in Exodus chapter number 35 and 6, I think, 34, 35, and 36. And he asked Yah, said, hey, teach me your ways. Teach me your ways. And what he's asking is so I can teach them your ways. He wasn't asking just for himself. He had an interest in the people that was his people. That's why he was a great interceder for those people. And I would recommend and I would highly suggest that when we come across people who we know that are going against the Creator, listen, and they're being rebels and they're being defiant, like Yah has said, these people are stiff-necked and they're rebellious. They've been that way from day number one. They're even like that today in this exile. We can adopt that same mindset and be an interceder. And also, too, we would understand that Yah will forgive. He said, I've forgiven. There was no bloodshed for that. But guess what there was? There was a consequence. So here we can see that Yah can forgive and will forgive, but to fall in line with what he says about his attributes up here, he will not exonerate the guilty, but he's going to cause the effects, the negative effects of the parents' offenses to be experienced by the children to the third and fourth generation. Bad news. Here's some bad news. If I continue to rebel against the Creator, just say I decided I'm going to rebel against him, it's going to be felt and experienced by every child that comes through me to the third and fourth generation. Somebody's going to have to bear what I've done because there's not enough time for me to bear it, so he's going to put it on them. So what does it tell you about when someone does something against the Creator? What does it mean? 40 days of rebellion and 40 days of giving a bad report and 40 days of you going and spying resulted in 40 years of a burden that your own children had to carry. Their destiny was delayed because of their parents. So we got parents today that want to act crazy and don't want to fall in line. Well, don't worry, your kids will receive what you're doing. And hopefully within the next third and fourth generation that, because Yah's not going to let it go. Yah measures everything. Everything is balanced. That's what he's trying to tell us. Why would Yah give a year for every day? Why would he give a day? For one day, I'm going to get 1 year? That seems pretty extreme, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem pretty rough? Doesn't seem merciful, does it? It is mercy. Mercy is, I could have killed you, but I didn't. I could have wiped you out, but I didn't. I'd rather put it on your children and see if I give them an opportunity to see if they want to change. I'll use what the parents do to teach the children what not to do. You see? You raising your kids a certain way, and they're getting married later on, they have problems in their marriages because of you. That's what's going to happen. It's just it's what they call inevitable. Okay. What we see here too, trying to finish up, Yah says, I've forgiven. But as sure as I live, because he does live, he never dies, that the whole earth is filled with the glory of Yahweh. The whole earth is filled with the glory of Yahweh. Everything you see is because of the glory of Yahweh. The sky, the sun, the moon, the stars, the grass, the animals, the birds, the insects, the ants, everything. The grass, the dirt, the leaves, everything. None of the people who saw my glory and the signs I did in Egypt and in the desert yet tested me these 10 times and did not listen to my voice will see the land I swore to their ancestors. And again, it goes back to the promise of the land that I swore to their ancestors. None of those who treated me with contempt will see it. None of them. Not one of them. They're not going. But my servant Caleb, see, my servant Caleb, because he had a different spirit with him, has fully followed me. Him I will bring into the land he entered and will get, and it will belong to his descendants. Okay. And so, what's so special about this land? What's so special about it? I'll tell you what's special about it. It's the most beautiful lands of all lands. What's also special about it, it belongs to the Creator. It's his land. What else is special about it? The land that they rejected had a negative report. I'm going to give you some little bit of information about what's special in the things that mean nothing to anybody, but it should mean something to us. We find that in chapter number 8 of the book of Deuteronomy, Yah says this. Verse number 4, during the 40 years, during these 40 years, the clothing you were wearing didn't grow old and your feet didn't swell. He tells them to think about it. Think deeply about this, okay? Yahweh was disciplining you just as a man disciplines his child. That's why they were in the desert for 40 years, okay? So obey the commandments of Yahweh, your Elohim, living as he directs and fearing him. Fear is a prerequisite, okay? For Yahweh, your Elohim, is bringing you into a good land, a land with streams, springs, and water welling up from the depths in the valleys and on the hillsides. This land is rich, okay? It is a land of wheat. So here's the 7 blessings of the land, and the stuff, not the stuff, the food that he gives us is it's a blessed food. It's not ordinary food. This food is in a land is blessed because it's his land. It's rich not only from an agricultural standpoint, but it has Yahweh's blessing on it because of his rain and he brings a blessing. It has increase in it. So here are the 7 things. Number 1 is the wheat. Number 2 is the barley. Number 3 is the grapevines. Number 4 is the figs. Number 5 is the pomegranates. Number 6 is the oil. And number 7 is the honey. Those are the 7 divine blessings that go with the land. The number 7 represents what they would call an oath. Okay. And it means something that Yahweh swore. Okay. And this is what he was trying to get them into, a land that was with wheat, barley, and grapevines. Why wheat? Why barley? Because that's the food that you would eat. Why the grapevines? Because that gladdens the heart with wine and grape juice. Right? Why the figs? Because it's good for your health, your skin. It's sweet. What about the pomegranates? Well, it represents being prolific because it has so many seeds. It's very divine. Okay. Pomegranates were on the priest's robe. You understand? Figs, when the figs would come in season, they'd be green just like the leaves and something to be sought out for and searched out. Even the wheat and barley had their seasons. All these have their different seasons. The olive oil, which is from the olive oil trees, the olive oil, okay, the olives, and then the honey, which comes from the dates, okay, the sweetness of the land. And they would use the wheat and the barley for all different types of things. Even after they cut the wheat, they would use the stalks and crush them down and burn them and use it for soap. There's a variety of reasons why these things are there. Okay. So this was a land where you can eat as food. You will eat food in abundance because that was Yah's intention. And this is what people are giving up. They don't want to eat in abundance of the things that Yah has. They don't care about the land. They're like, we don't want this. We want heaven. But here he says it's like nothing in it. That's the promise. And it's a land where the stones contain iron and the hills contain or can be mined for copper. These metals right here are essential minerals that empowers our nervous system through the iron and the copper. It's a great conductor. So this is what's inside of the food. It's rich in minerals. So what it does, it helps your cells and it extends your life. But I like the fact that he said you can eat and you will be satisfied and you will bless Yahweh. This is where you get after they eat, you will bless Yahweh after you eat. You will eat first and be satisfied, then you will bless Yahweh. You didn't bless your food first. You would eat first and get satisfied and have something to put your hands up about and say, thank you, I'm satisfied. Because I ate as much as I want and as often as I wanted. That's what he said. It's an abundance and you lack nothing. Just like they lack nothing in the wilderness, but Yah now says you're not going to lack anything in this land. Okay? You're going to bless Yahweh, your Elohim, for the good what? Land he has given you. This is what you're going to bless Yahweh for. Because he fulfilled a good promise that he made to our ancestors that a lot of people are throwing in the trash. Oh, we're not under the old covenant anymore. So you throw away the land, you throw away the agreement, you throw away the promises, you throw it all away because you don't want a land. You're pretty much comfortable where you live and you like eating from your master's table here in oppression. Okay. He says, be careful not to forget Yahweh, your Elohim, by not obeying his commandments and rulings and regulations I'm giving you today. Because guess what happens? Because he says, otherwise, in verse number 12, after you have eaten and are satisfied, built fine houses and lived in them, look what's going to happen when you forget Yahweh. And you increase your herds, your flocks, your silver, your gold, everything else you own, you become proud-hearted, forgetting Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim. He says this over and over and over again here and also too in the prophets to let you know that I'm the one who brought you out of the land of Mizraim. I don't want you to get confused where you lived as slaves. I don't want you to forget who I am. I'm Yahweh. I'm your Elohim. Don't you ever forget that. Because once you forget my name, then you're going to think someone else is your savior. That's what's going to happen. And that is exactly what has happened. You serve gods of wood and stone. And that's why we have the problem that we have today. Okay. Then then he tells them, I'm the one who led you through the desert, through that vast and fearsome desert with what? Poisonous snakes, scorpions, and waterless, thirsty ground, who brought water out of the flint rock for you. I'm that one who did that, who fed you in the desert with manna. They said man there, but unknown to your ancestors. All the while humbling you and testing you, as you mentioned, Yared, testing you, what? In order to do you good in the end. This is the purpose of Yah doing what he's done. This is the reason why they were in the desert. And so listen, you will think to yourself, my own power and strength of my own hand has gotten me this wealth. No, not at all. You're to remember Yahweh, your Elohim, because it is he who is giving you the power to get wealth in order to do what? In order to confirm his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. This is not rocket science, as is happening even today. This is Moshe telling the children of Israel on the day that he was going to go up to the mountain and die, that this is what Yah's intention is for you, to give you that land. If you forget Yahweh, your Elohim, and follow other gods and serve and worship them, I am warning you today in advance that you will certainly perish, meaning you're going to die. You will perish just like the nations that Yahweh is causing to perish ahead of you, because you will not have heeded the voice of Yahweh, your Elohim. That's what brings destruction and death upon any person, is that they have not listened to the voice of Yahweh. That's what this is all about. And it's not hard, but the problem is, and the challenge is it's us. We're the problem. There's something in the deep recesses of our minds that still want to be like everybody else. And Yah's saying, you're not going to be. You cannot be anybody else. I called you by your name. You are Yisrael. And your destiny is bound in whatever I say. If I say Yisrael will survive, Yisrael will survive. If I say Yisrael is going to be the chief of nations, Yisrael is going to be the chief of nations. If I say Yisrael is going to be the head, then Yisrael is going to be the head. If I say Yisrael is going to exile, Yisrael is going to exile. If I say you're going to walk in the desert for 40 years, you're going to walk in the desert for 40 years. If I say there's no water and food, there's no water and food. If I say it. See, so you and I need to be careful because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm scared. He doesn't, Yahweh made a promise. But all you and I can hope for and hold on to is that promise that he swore to our ancestors. Because if it's based on performance and it's based on what we do and how we respond, we would have been dead a long time ago. The way that people are acting even today, we deserve far worse than what we're getting. Far worse. The prophets even say, you didn't punish us as we really, really deserve. What do you mean? Scattered, raped, beat, hung, all that? That's not enough? Not for going against this great king. We should have been destroyed. You see? So you and I are the descendants of these ancestors. Now, the thing is that we have, he mentions ancestors. So let's be clear. The group that we need to, there's two sets of them. Okay. So it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Those three right there, those are the ones that you want to emulate. Those are the ones that you really want to be thankful for. Because based upon their obedience to Yah and their willingness to follow him and do what he says, that's why you and I, as the children of them, have all the benefits that we're supposed to have. The land, him being our Elohim, the Torah, all these different things, okay? Then you got your other set of ancestors, which are the ones that he brought out of the land of Mizraim, that he killed in the wilderness. He killed them, okay, and destroyed them because they hated him. I know we don't want to believe that, but they did, okay? Just like their descendants today still hate Yah, right? But he tells us to say that you're sorry for what they taught you and say what you're and the things that you're doing for yourself. So you need to apologize for what they have sent you through by not listening to me. And you need to apologize for the things that you've been doing while you've been in exile until you found out who I am. And if Yah sees that we've turned back to him wholeheartedly, then he's going to show us mercy. See, but there's coming a day, he's not waiting for everybody to turn back to him. That's the concerning part. He's not waiting for everybody to turn back. He's not, because he says, as a cluster, I'll find some good on the day that I come and gather. If I find a little cluster with a little bit of juice in it, I'll save that little piece, that little cluster with the juice in it. Okay, I'll save that one. Everybody else, I'm going to destroy. And he's going to pay us back. He's going to pay our ancestors and us back for what we have done if we did not turn. All the anger that he built up, all the times he said, I want to just wipe them out, and he never did. He's never executed his full wrath. That's what I'm trying to get us to understand. According to what he says, there's coming a day where I'm going to pay them and their ancestors back to the full for everything they've ever done to me, for all the shame that they brought about my name, all the profanation they've ever brought to my name. So it behooves us to get in while you fit in. If we can get in now, this is a great time to get in. This is a great time to say you're sorry. This is a great time to change your mind and your mindset. This is the perfect time to do so. Because that day is coming. That day is coming. I'm not a doomsday guy. I'm not projecting or being a prognosticator. But I'm telling you what he says. Yah has said it. And guess what? I not only believe it, I know it. I know it. Because if you look at anything in agriculture, Yah gives us agriculture to point us to seasons, to let us know if I told you that I scattered you, you must be a what? A seed. Once you land where you're supposed to land, in the land that you're at, you're going to grow up and then, some going to, grow up, and some are going to have the same characteristics as the other stuff. They're still from the same batch. But I'm trying to find within that group of harvest the ones that I can save, the ones that I can retrieve for myself. I can work with that. I'm like any other farmer that wants the best. Okay. But I know that it has to go through certain cycles for me to get the one I'm looking for. Israel has been a vine to Yah. That's what he says. He's been like a vine to me, a vine, and he says, I want them to grow. So you and I are in a very, living in a very interesting time. And so we need to take this a little bit more serious than what we have been taught. And that's my job as your brother, is to teach you and to bring you to a fuller understanding of what needs to happen and what needs to change. And it's not rocket science. What I'm going to share with you on Shabbat is going to be life-changing. It's changed my life in the last 48 hours. I've been working on my slides for the last 48 hours. And I'm beginning to see some things in there that I need to do myself. And I know if it's good for me, it's good for the rest of Israel, because we're all part of the same family. We're all in the same cloth, the same group. And this is what Yah's looking for, so prepare your hearts for this Shabbat. Really prepare and be notebook, pen and paper. I don't care if you got to record it. It's going to be recorded. Okay. And we're going to talk about these things.